Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica, and of course this is my channel. Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about how to start getting what you want out of life. This topic, okay, I was thinking of video topics to do for March and April, and this topic randomly came up literally as I was landing here in Panama, like in the plane. And I have 5 points that we're going to go over, and I literally did point 1 to 5, like brief notes while I was landing. So that's cool. I think something, you know, up above was like just giving me that download. And I'm like, you know what, let's talk about this because it's important. Of course, people want things out of life. Everybody has certain goals, certain plans, certain desires, and let me just share what has worked for me and what will work for you too. So as I said, we have 5 things. My hands keep doing its own thing. We have 5 things we're gonna go over, and yeah, let's just start. So how to start getting what you want out of life. Okay, so the first thing is knowing what you actually want. And this is very important because there's so many people I can go up to right now and it's like, what do you want out of life? And will you actually know what you want, you know? Because you can see people have certain things, doing certain things, like having certain experiences, even material things, careers, whatever, and you're like, oh my god, they look so happy, like I want that too. But is that what you truly want? So literally you need to like sit down, get a piece of paper and pen, and actually write down what you truly want out of life. Don't keep it in your head because it's not the same. Honestly, like we can be thinking things all day every day, but when you actually write things down on paper, it is so different. That's why journaling is so therapeutic and so helpful, because you get all that like junk, all that gunk, I was gonna say junk and gunk, in your brain basically onto paper, and when your brain actually sees it, like your body feels safe. This is why when you express your emotions through journaling, you're like, okay, I feel a little sense of relief because not everything is stuck in my body. So knowing what you truly want, what is it that you want out of life? It could be big, it could be small, but when you actually write it down on paper, it becomes more real and more clear to you, because constantly thinking about what you want or what you think you want and then seeing what other people have, and then it just gets all messed up. But no, when you write it down, when you see it, it's just like, whoa, this is what I want. It's kind of like a vision board, but not really. I'm just talking about words right now, just actually knowing what you want. But at least with the vision board, it's more physical or visual. It could be both. But like you actually see what it is that you're desiring, right? What it is that you want. So number 1, knowing what you actually want. Number 2, have the first few actionable steps. So the reason why I say have the first few steps and not have everything planned out from A to Z, because life, you can't control it. What if you had this like big grandiose plan in 2020 and March came and then the world shut down and you're just like, you know, having plan A to Z is not really the best idea. So I would say have like A, B, and C planned out. Have the first few steps planned out so you know what, this is the first step I need to take. When this happens, I can take the second step, and so on. You know, you don't want to have this whole plan from like A to Z and all of a sudden like life happens, you know, things pop up in life. We're always evolving, you know, so having plan A to Z, it also makes you very strict. And when that happens, you don't actually allow space for new things to come in. New things are better. Like what if you have this perfect plan in your head, but like something better is supposed to happen and you're just stuck in this one road? Like no, you need to open yourself up, like okay, this is where I'm gonna start, and then you know, if something better happens, something better happens. And if like everything is going according to plan, how you want it to go, that's also fine, you know. But you just don't want to have every single thing all planned out, because it just doesn't work out like that. Like I thought I had everything planned out basically after high school, from like college until retirement. Didn't work out. Like I thought I was gonna go into the law enforcement field. I thought I was gonna be a police officer, homicide detective, what was the next one? Lawyer, and then retire as a judge in Ottawa because I was gonna work at the Supreme Court of Canada. I had that all planned out, and like life said, whoop. Life said no. Life literally said no. Also, a little side tip, you don't need to have the whole thing figured out. Like I'm telling you, all these like the people that you look up to, let's just say, I don't know who you look up to, but everyone you look up to didn't have it all figured out. Like everyone starts like confused. You know, you're just basically you're almost just winging it. So a little recap. The first thing is like you're gonna know what you actually want out of life. The second one is gonna know the first few actionable steps, and the third one is actually doing that action, right? So it's action, aligned action, inspired action, whatever you want it to be. But basically this is where you actually do the thing. There are literally millions of people in the world that are like, when this happens, I'm gonna do this, and then that's gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, and that's I don't want to say that's all talk, but it's just all planning. It's all planning, and this is why number 3 is like actually doing the action. You know, like you can plan all you want. I always say, like, you know, when you're like manifesting something and you just write it down, like, okay, yes, writing it down is great, but if you do no aligned action, no inspired action, you can't just write something down and be like, okay, it's coming, I'm just gonna, that's it. Like, no, there's action to take, right? Whoever you believe in, God, universe, Allah, whatever, like, it's a co-creation. You know, you're doing half the work, they're doing half the work, so you need to actually take the action for it to come into your life. Like, literally, if there is no action to get what you want out of life, every single person in the world would have exactly what they want, because it'd be like, yo, you don't have to take action. Yeah, I'm planning for this to happen and that's gonna happen, I'm gonna write it down and boom, I have it. But that's just not how the world works. You know, you need to actually take some action for the thing that you want out of life to come into your life. Just notice you can see my charger. Great. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, number 4 is mindset, because your mindset matters. And I know, like, ideally or whatever, you would see this like number 1 on a certain list. But yes, your mindset matters in the beginning, but your mindset matters the most when things aren't going right, when things aren't going according to plan, when your plan is like failing, which I don't believe in failure, but that's fine. When honestly just nothing is going how you want it to go. That is what makes the difference between the people who give up, the people who fail, the people who are just like, oh, I tried it, it's just not for me, and the people who are like, you know what, like, this is what I want out of life. Yes, this didn't work, but I can find another way to make it work. This didn't work, okay, there is another way to make it work, right? This is not to compare yourself with others, but if you see someone who has what you want out of life, or who's living the life that you really want, if somebody else can do it, that means you can do it too. Like, no question about it. Doesn't matter their background, doesn't matter if, like, what they have. Like, if someone else can do it, you can do it too. And I really want you to believe in yourself, because like, that's a big thing where people are like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not, that's a whole nother video, but we'll do that a different day. But just like, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, like, just self-doubt and all that stuff. And it's just like, no, you're seeing it, like, you're seeing it with your own eyes. That means you can have it as well. And very important tip, this is not to say that you need to be high vibe all the time, you need to like have the best mindset all the time. Like, no, you can have bad days, you can have bad weeks, you can honestly have bad months. Like, it happens, I understand, it happens, but the difference is like staying in that place, just staying like in a bad mindset, or being, you know what, like, okay, I've had a few bad days, had a few bad weeks, and now let's like get back into it, you know, because when you give up, and that's it. Like, you give up, right? But when you keep on going, you have a chance. You have a chance, and this is what, like, you need to actually train your body and your mind to say, like, okay, I'm having a bad day today, I'm having a bad week, I'm having a bad month. It is okay, it's normal. We're humans, we have feelings, we have emotions, things going on in life, it just happens. But when you actually get yourself out of that and keep on going, this is how you get what you want out of life. It will come to you. But if you're just like closed off, you're like, you know what, I'm over it, that's it, how are you gonna get it? Sirens, because it's just, the message is too hot right now. Sirens. You know where I got that from? Where, I don't know who I was watching, but these sirens came on in the back, and then this person was like, oh, my mixtape must be too hot. I don't know, whatever. Let's keep going, let's keep going. So basically, just to close off, number 4, your mindset matters the most when you're not feeling it, when, you know, when you're about to give up, when things aren't going right. That is when your mindset matters the most. Like, yes, it's great when you're in the beginning, when you're like, you know, yes, I'm pumped up, this is what I'm gonna do, this is a plan. But what about when A, B, and C, yeah, that goes right, and then you thought D was gonna happen, but like, you're like, this is not going right. That's when your mindset matters the most, And number 5, the last one, enjoy the process of getting there. Like, you hear this all the time, trust the process, enjoy the journey, because once you get what you want out of life, like, you get it, you have it, it's done, like, it's great, it's amazing. Actually, you get to like enjoy that experience, enjoy whatever that material thing is, whatever you want, right? But the process of getting there is actually the best part. And when you look back on it, you're like, okay, I went through all of this. It doesn't mean you have to go through the ringer, it doesn't mean you have to have such a hard time, be like battling, you know, every single tough thing, but just like, you just look back and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I went through all of that to get what I want now, and that is the most amazing part about it, right? Like, when you're handed things, it's not the same. When you do like a little bit of work for it, or even a lot of work, whatever, it just feels so much better. It is like, you feel so much grateful for it, right? In my last video, I was talking about how, well, I wasn't talking about it, but I basically not implemented, that's not the word, implied that hard work doesn't equal results, basically, right? And like in certain factors, I guess, but overall I wouldn't say so, because they're very hardworking, you know. I'm not gonna even say certain jobs. I'm just gonna say they're very hardworking people in certain job titles that are making minimum wage, just barely surviving, and it's like they're working so hard, you know. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like you work super hard, you're gonna get what you want out of life, but there's just certain factors that make that true, that working super hard doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get what you want out of life. So even for me personally, of course there's certain things I want out of life still, like I'm still young, you know, and when things don't go right, when things don't go my way, I'm like, you know what, this is fine. This is all part of the story. Everything is all part of the story. Everything is all part of the story. All the ups, all the downs, it's just all part of it. I'm not saying this necessarily has to happen to you, but you know when you hear those stories from like rags to riches, or like, you know, even like Oprah's background, or like, I don't know why this just came in my head, but certain rappers were like from like, you know, the worst parts of the world, and they blew up, you know, things like that. Just like, I don't even know who else. I don't know why I can't think of any other stories like that. I think Jennifer Hudson has a very like inspirational background story as well. There are many people in the world who have all these like, you know, I don't want to say crazy stories, but yeah, kind of crazy stories. Basically people who were not supposed to be where they are right now, and when you look back on their journey, when they talk about their journey, that is like the most inspiring thing ever, and that is what matters the most. Like, yes, when you get there, you're there, it's great, it's fun, it's amazing, but what about everything you've been through to get there? What about all like the trials and tribulations to get there, right? And we know, like we literally know, you know, this picture I'm going to put on the screen right now, where it's like success is not a straight line. There's ups and downs, there's whirls, there's probably a big plummet in there. That is why during the downtimes of your journey, it's always important to have that good mindset, because as I keep saying this, but it's so true, like that is when it matters the most. I kind of just intertwined number 4 and 5 right there, but like mindset is so important that I just need to like bring it up again. But yeah, that's what number 5 is, enjoying the process of getting there. So that's basically the 5 things to getting what you want out of life. I promise you, like, these are just the most important 5 things. It's like, you follow this, you will get what you want out of life. Guys, these 5 things are very simple, very basic, very to the point, but they are the most, it's like the foundation of your success. It's the foundation of getting what you want out of life. So I'm like, use it, don't use it, no, but use it, it's great. It's very basic stuff. It's not telling you to do anything that you don't need to do to get what you want out of life. Don't know why I said a riddle, but it just is very important. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. It helps me a lot, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. What's going on? My outro is so different every time.